prayer in the field of silence, when emotions, chemistry, and memory intertwine. In the stillness between thoughts, where silence becomes a sanctuary, something ancient stirs, not a voice, not a memory, but a pulse older than words. This is the sacred field where emotions, chemistry, and memory dance in invisible circuits, shaping who we are and who we may become. Not as separate forces, but as one tangled fabric of human becoming, where past impressions flow like echoes through the nervous system, and every thought is a ripple awakening something long sealed in the heart. It begins often before the thought. A scent, a face, a fleeting phrase, something small cracks the still surface of the present and lets memory rise unbidden. But memory in this field is not merely the recall of events. It is a total resurrection. The body, flooded with the same chemical storms, breathes again the past as though it were now. Emotions, the alchemists of biology, conjure from within the very molecules that once surged during joy, pain, fear, or love. These are not shadows. They are recreations, vivid, cellular, complete. Each emotion in this understanding is more than a reaction. It is a biochemical broadcast. A state. A fingerprint of the moment printed into the flesh. The brain, intimate partner of the heart, releases its cocktail of neurotransmitters, marking the event in neural ink. If the emotion is strong, the print is deep. A trauma burns through every synapse. A heartbreak rewires perception. And the stronger the surge, the deeper the encoding. The memory does not store only the image but the internal weather, the tremor, the tears, the tightness of breath. The body remembers not only what happened but how it felt to be there. In this light, memory is not confined to the mind. It lives in muscle tension and heart rate and skin conductivity. It dwells in the chemistry of being, and the body, like a loyal student, rehearses what it knows best, even if it brings suffering. This is where the paradox unfolds. What we felt most vividly becomes what we recreate most often. The familiar emotional states, whether joy or sorrow, begin to shape our neural architecture. We live the loop, and the loop begins to live us. So often then, the present becomes a reenactment. A word spoken in passing calls forth a buried wound. A place once touched by heartbreak reawakens the ache. And in those moments we do not remember, we re-become. The chemistry floods anew. The body, trained by repetition, recognizes the signal and delivers the script. We act not from now but from then. Trapped, not by what was, but by the emotional signature it left behind. Yet within this intricate tangle lies the invitation, the doorway through which transformation may pass. There is no condemnation here. Only understanding. Only the soft, compassionate realization that we are not broken but conditioned. That our body in its own wisdom has tried to protect us by learning. But the past, once learned too deeply, can become the present's tyrant. To release it we must not fight it but re-educate the system. A new language must be spoken within. And so, in the silence begins the work. It is not loud work. It does not shout affirmations into the void or wage war on the wounded child within. It breathes instead, slowly, deeply. Like a being who remembers that peace is the foundation of all true change. In these quiet states, meditation, stillness, coherence, something subtle but profound begins. The brain shifts its rhythm, releasing its grip on high-frequency survival patterns and opening into deeper, slower waves. From the scattered peaks of beta, we descend into alpha, theta, even gamma, frequencies that welcome the subconscious, the intuitive, the deeply creative. And here, in this altered space, the mind no longer dominates, the body no longer dictates. A new possibility breathes. It is here that new chemistry becomes available. Gratitude, when sincerely felt, is no longer an idea, it is a neurochemical. Love, not merely a sentiment, becomes a cascade of signals that tell the heart to regulate, the brain to harmonize, the immune system to strengthen. Joy is not decorative, it is biological nourishment. In these elevated emotions, the body writes a new story into itself. The neurochemistry of the past loosens. The emotional signature fades. A different imprint begins. And with repetition, the new becomes familiar. The once addictive pull toward pain, chaos, or fear loses strength. Not because we fought it, but because we stopped feeding it. A brain that once fired only in patterns of stress begins to learn ease. A body once bound by trauma starts to believe in trust. The incoherence, that jagged fragmentation of mind and heart, gives way to a music, rhythm, flow, coherence. This, then, is not merely healing. It is recreation. A true rewriting of the script from within. Not by denying what came before, but by rising above its gravitational pull, breathing into the unknown, and feeling what the body has not yet learned to feel on its own. And this work, this sacred inner labor, becomes a prayer. A prayer not cast upward into the heavens, but downward into the cells, across the synapses, and into the very fabric of the self. It says, I remember what I've felt, and I choose what I'll feel next. I honor the chemistry of survival, and I embrace the alchemy of creation. I see the past's fingerprints, and I offer the brush of new colors. So breathe. Breathe where you once held your breath. Feel what you once avoided. Let the tears rise if they must, not as grief alone, but as solvents of memory's chain. Let the body speak, but do not obey without discernment. Let the mind recall, but do not be ruled. Feel fully, and then feel differently. Return to the field where silence listens more deeply than sound, where the incoherent becomes coherent, where the emotion that once imprisoned you now becomes the portal through which freedom walks in. It may be slow. The body does not change through thought alone. But it listens, oh yes, it listens, when we speak in the language of presence. With every moment you choose gratitude instead of resentment, every breath that softens instead of braces, every thought that blesses instead of blames, you speak to the chemistry. You become the change. So if you are remembering, remember consciously. And if you are reliving, pause and breathe. You are not only the one who suffered, you are the one who can choose again. And if you are rewiring, rejoice. For no act of internal reorganization is ever small. It is a sacred act of becoming. A subtle rebellion against the past. A miracle in motion. The tapestry is not fixed. Every thread of emotion may be woven anew. The chemistry may be rewritten. The memories may still exist, but the meaning they carry, that is yours to change. And so, in the field of silence, where the prayer is not a plea but a presence, let the new self awaken. The one who remembers not only what was, but who dares to create what will be. So breathe deeply, feel fully, rehearse with care, choose with presence, and become the version of yourself you are meant to be.